first graders. It's been a while since we did some good writing, so I'm excited to get started with you today. Today we're going to work on writing a realistic story. Now, a realistic story, remember, is a story that could really happen, but didn't actually happen. So we're going to make it up, but it's going to be something that could actually happen in real life. So, in order to write a story, we want to plan a little bit first. Let's do a little planning. First, get your writing journal with me. Find a page where you have 2 blank pages, because I'm going to use this side for my planning. I'm going to use this side for my actual story. Okay? All right. When we think about a story, well, every story that we read, boys and girls, that's realistic, usually has characters. So we need some characters. We've done this before where maybe you just make up a couple of names. Let me tell you our prompt for our story today. Today our realistic story is going to be about children playing in a new place. Okay, so children playing in a new place. So we're going to think of kids in our mind. If you were to make up 2 kids, let's say, what would their names be? Here's what came into my mind. And I'm just going to go ahead and write it right on this line. Greg came to my mind. And Lucy. Okay, those are the 2 names that popped in my mind when I thought to myself, I need to make up 2 kids. So your turn. Think of 2 names to give your made-up kids. Go ahead and write them in your journal. If you were to name up or make up 2 children that are going to go play in a new place, what would their names be? All you have to do is write them on the line. Okay, we are planning. So that means we're not totally coming up and writing the beautiful story yet. We're coming up with our important parts that we will need to write it. Okay, so I have Greg and Lucy. Hopefully you have 2 children's names on your paper as well. If you still need time to finish writing them, go ahead and pause me. Now, every other story that we write has to have a setting, right? Do you remember what a setting is? A setting is where the story takes place. Now, since our story has to be about our 2 children playing in a new place, think of a place that might be new. You could use yourself to kind of think of a place that maybe you haven't been to that you could write about. Or maybe you just pick a place that you have been to, but your characters haven't been to. And we're just going to pretend because it's a made-up story. So if I think of a new place, where could Greg and Lucy go? I think I would choose... I'm going to try to think of a place that not a lot of people maybe have been to. But still a place that I could write about. I know enough about to write about. So I have a couple ideas. And sometimes, boys and girls, it takes a few minutes to think. You might just have to pause and think for a minute. I'm thinking either the trampoline park or the mountains. And I don't know why I thought of somewhere kind of natural, and I thought of somewhere that is a place that I know people like to go. But maybe Greg and Lucy haven't been there. All right, so I think I'm going to go with the trampoline park. So I'm just going to go to a new line and write down my setting. Trampoline park. So think of your setting. You should have 2 made-up names and your setting on the next line. We're planning. Okay. Once we have our characters and our setting, we're going to go ahead and start our story. Okay? So, pause if you need more time to think of your setting, or pause if you just need a little more time to finish writing it down. Okay? I have Greg and Lucy. They're going to be going to the trampoline park in my story. Now I'm also, even though we're not writing it down right now, I'm going to think about maybe something that they do or a favorite part that they might have. Something important that I also want to put in my story, because just saying that they went to the trampoline park isn't a story. That's just a sentence. But we can start with our sentence by telling who our characters are and where they went. So I'm going to go to my other side here. And if I just wrote Greg and Lucy trampoline park, that is not a complete sentence. Those are two thoughts that I had. We thought about the characters, then we thought about the setting. Now I need to put them into a complete sentence. So I'm going to have to add some conjunction words. Greg and Lucy, I'm going to have to write it again. Capital G. Remember, my L in Lucy is going to be capital 2 because it's a name. Finger spaces. Greg and Lucy. I can't just put trampoline park now, so I need to say what they did. Well, what did they do? They went there, right? Went. W-E-N-T. Finger space, 2. Okay, I have some room left, but not enough to put a finger space and write the next word, the. I'm going to go to the next line. Greg and Lucy went to the, now I can write trampoline park. Good. Pause me if you're still writing yours. You need in your first sentence, you need to introduce your characters and tell where they went. Otherwise your reader will be very confused. Okay, so I told who and I told where they are. Now I'm going to tell the what. What did they do? What was so great about it? Or maybe what was so not great about it? What was the highlight? What was a big important part that I want my reader to know about? Well, if I were to picture Greg and Lucy at the trampoline park, obviously I picture them jumping up and down on lots of trampolines. Now, it's not new to me, but it's new to them in my story, so I've been there once, so I can kind of use my experience to help me. I remember there was like a slam dunk section where you could jump and dunk the balls, basketballs and the hoops. There were foam pits that you could jump off a trampoline and do a flip or a crazy trick into the foam. I remember there were trampolines on the walls. There was dodgeball you could play. There's lots of things. Now, I don't have that much space, so I'm not going to write that much stuff today. But I'm going to think of maybe one thing that I think Greg and Lucy would enjoy if it was their first time at the trampoline park. I think I'm going to go with the foam pit. Okay, so I might say maybe Greg and Lucy did tricks into the foam pit. I think I'm going to write that. Okay, maybe if your characters went somewhere, maybe they saw something super interesting. You could say they saw, they did, they heard, they ate. Maybe they're going somewhere new to eat. Okay, Greg and Lucy though, I'm going to use the word they with a capital T. I have my period at the end of my last sentence. I need a capital letter to start my new sentence. And I still have room on this line, so I'm going to use that room. They did tricks into the foam pit. That's my highlight of their new experience at the trampoline park. Period to show that that's the end of my thought. Okay, so now my story has the characters, it has the setting, and it has something important they did. They did tricks into the foam pit. What did your characters do at their new place? Think of one exciting thing that you want to share that they did or saw or heard or tried, and write your next sentence. And then the last sentence, boys and girls, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to tell about how Greg and Lucy's experience was overall. Okay? Maybe it was exciting. Maybe it was fun. Maybe they were really tired at the end. Maybe they were full if your characters were eating somewhere. Okay, there are lots of things. We're going to tell how it went overall for our characters. If Greg and Lucy spent all that time doing tricks into the foam pit, I bet they were pretty tired. But they also probably had a lot of fun. I could put both of those things in a sentence. I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say, it was, and I'm still putting finger spaces in between all my words. It was, I use the word very fun, but B-U-T, they got very tired. Period. Okay, so I wrapped it up. How was their experience? Well, it was very fun, but they got very tired. Okay, good. Now you can finish your story as well. If I reread, I want to make sure it makes sense, so I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly. Greg and Lucy went to the trampoline park. They did tricks into the foam pit. It was very fun, but they got very tired. So, in my first sentence, I introduced them, said where they went. You should do the same thing with your characters. Greg and Lucy went to the trampoline park. Okay? In your second sentence, you should tell the most important thing that happened when they were there. I wrote, they did tricks into the foam pit. And in your third sentence, can tell how it was for your characters. It was very fun, but they got very tired. Okay? Can't wait to read your wonderful stories, boys and girls. Please do your very best spelling. It does not have to be perfect, but make sure your handwriting is neat so I can read your wonderful story. When you're finished, go ahead and you can draw a picture and an illustration to go with it. Happy writing!